About 15 years ago, I received this banjo. It came out of a basement, and it came in a bag. There was a plastic bag, and in the bag had the original leather case for this thing, and it has sat ever since. Inside of the banjo, it has SS Stewart, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and it has the triple S with the model number 19082, which gives it the year 1896, possibly early 1897. Down here you see it has another piece of bone that says American Princess. So this was a lady's banjo made for a woman. It's a smaller scale, shorter, and there's the same model number there. This is rosewood on the inside. The tail piece and the neck seem to be out of cherry wood down through here. And of course it has the bone pegs, and they still seem to work. So in essence, it's covered with dust and dirt, but it has mother of pearl inlays at its appropriate locations, and it has an ebony fretboard and an ebony piece over the headstock here. So I think everything is intact. Even the tailpiece is still intact, which is a rosette shape out of bone also. And the tailpiece is still intact here, the middle portion of it. Every single one of these clamps are intact. Hallelujah. So I think what happened is, at one point in this banjo's history, is they probably over tightened the nuts here, and it split the calfskin head. They put it in a corner, and there it has sat for probably who knows how many years. But 100 years later, I noticed that on the fifth string peg, there is still a piece of a string on it. That string is not made of nylon. It's not made of steel. It's an original gut string. They started phasing out gut strings in the 1920s and 30s. Probably the last time this thing was played, about 100 years ago. So our project today is to see if we can get a 129-year-old banjo back to playing again using its original materials to rebuild it. Same calfskin head, nothing plastic on it. It's missing the nut right here, which was originally out of ebony. So I've made an ebony reproduction of that. And to get the strings on it that would be appropriate for it. This banjo would have never had steel strings on it, and thus the sound would have been nice and mellow. So this is an SS Stewart banjo from Philadelphia, made about the year 1896. So I think the first thing to do is to clean off this filthy headstock and fingerboard. All right. Since it's already busted, I don't have to be too careful about what order I take it all apart with, I suppose. Okay, so having removed all of the hardware here and putting them in a container, now I've got the tail piece here with its original nut on the bottom. Okay, so I took on the back here the screw out of the tail piece here. I'm going to take these two screws out because this is iron and it's rusty, and I'm going to take and kind of wire wheel it off and oil it a little bit, I think. So I'm taking and unscrewing this out of the tail piece, and that leaves this open and free. Then I'm going to take this last screw here and undo it. Yeah, you can see there is a spider web there. Look at that action. So there literally is two pieces of ebony wood kind of wedged in behind these to hold that in. So I'm going to lay that over there for number one, and then lay this one over there for number two. bracket shoe off the bottom there. Now we're free and clear of that, which I think leaves this free and clear now. There we go. So something like that, and then just hitting it like that. Okay, looks like we got it. So there, like that. So there it is. There's the old original 1896 head from SS Stewart. Okay, so now having removed all the hardware around the hoop, we can work on cleaning that up a little bit. Now when I received this banjo, it did not have a nut. This part here is called the nut. It did not have one. So I found out that they originally were made with ebony. So I bought a large piece of ebony and I cut it down, and as best as I could I tried to taper it to make it fit. And there we have that. I smashed my fingers on a piece of stone. Sorry about that. So I'm going to try to glue in this piece of ebony to make a nut for the banjo. Now the string slots, I'll put those in a wee bit later, Lord willing. So I'm using a little brasso. I'm out of my semichrome, but you can see here that I just put it on in a really bad spot there. So I just wanted to do a before shot. You can see how filthy and corroded that has become and how dusty the inside rosewood has become. Okay, so we saw before, here's after. It didn't clean up all the crud because it's pitted too bad, but it got a lot of it off. And I think when all the components are back together, it's going to look really nice. Definitely has a nicer shine on the inside. I put linseed oil on the inside and used brasso for the outside there. So not bad for a 129-year-old banjo to brighten up looking that good. So while I have the fretboard apart, I just wanted you to see close up of the neck here. Okay, I dabble a couple drops of linseed oil on the headstock here. Just see if that helps or harms our cause. I really don't know until I try it. Okay, a couple more drops of linseed oil on the fretboard here. Don't want to overdo my welcome with it. Okay, so we'll just kindly rub that in a little bit and spread it out real good. And go along the frets. Okay, now for the tailpiece truss rod on the back. It looks like it's all steel or iron, so I'm gonna try to take a wire wheel here and fluff some of it off. So here is it after I've kind of wire brushed it off. It looks a whole lot better, and it has actually revealed here, patented July 17th, it looks like, of 94, so that would be 1894, patented in 1894, further helping to solidify the dates on this piece. Okay, so here is a first glance of it attached to the neck. Alright, so now I've installed all the hardware around the sides so that we can get ready to install this head. And then next, you may have good confidence that this will be a period appropriate installation because I'm using the official SS Stewart catalog sheet. This one is copyrighted 1887 by SS Stewart, who made this banjo, and has accurate drawings based on photographs that they took in the 1880s, it says. And so you know this installation will be period. Okay, so now we're wetting the towel down so that we can wrap up the skin head, the calf skin head, and fold it up in it. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to take the dry calf skin head and wrap it up in the wet towel for about 15 minutes. Let it soak up all this water. Okay, so 15 minutes is up. We unroll it, and we're nice and flimsy, floppy, and very plastic-like, ready to set it on top. I did replace the original flesh hoop with this brass one from Smokula Instruments, and I'll leave a link for them in the description below. This is non-ferrous and should not rust. So at this point now, I'm taking the tension hoop over top, and I'm folding underneath of the tension hoop and back behind it the head. So it's kind of pinching on the flesh hoop underneath. And now I'm just pulling out the excess here, making sure there's no wrinkles in it, and getting all as tidy as possible. Next, I'm just pushing down on it to get it started here, making sure it's even as much as possible. And then to try to get one of these tension hooks on it, as you can see here. And I used the new tension hooks because I didn't want to break my original ones, which are made out of just solid brass, in hopes to replace them with the original ones in about 2 or 3 months, Lord's willing. So I'm just going across in quadrants, 4s, and then in 8s to tighten it down. As you can see here. Okay, so after cutting off the excess here, I'm down to about maybe an 1/8 to 3/16 all the way around now. And I'll tell you, I think the secret to this SS Stewart might be different than some of the other online sources suggest. Granted, it hasn't dried yet and it could bust, but it seems like while it's wet, you got to get it pretty well where you want it down to be. So I'm just going around a turn at a time and keeping it wet with a spray bottle and using my hand to kind of massage it around, even on both sides, and then kind of flexing it like this to keep play in it. But I think the secret is seriously putting all of them on and little by little just going around and slowly bringing it down to about where you want it, because this originally was flush with the surface and maybe just a little bit below it. Okay, so I've got it all put back together now. This is day 2. I'm not going to tighten the strings up fully, but I'm using the Labella 17s, as they're called, even though they're 19s. Nylon and silver plated wound, 4th. So Labella from Smokula, $10 a set right now. So now very carefully sawing the little slots in the nut for the strings with a coping saw blade. Okay, so for the first time in probably 100 years, it's all strung up and I'm so excited. I can't stand it. Beautiful. I will have to work on the action and the top of that, and I'll have to make a smaller one of these, but at least it looks like a banjo again. That doesn't look like a 129-year-old. It's time to make a bridge just like the one that S.S. Stewart used. You'll notice that the notches come in at an angle on both sides. So I've drawn it up here on this piece of maple from 1930. So it's pretty old because it came out of my Model A Ford. So it's very dry, very dense. So I have created this. I'm going to try to cut it out. Okay, so here we are. I have strings on it now. I fitted a bridge to it. New nut, new strings, new bridge, new calfskin head. Question is, will it play? So in 1896, when this banjo was built, the banjo wasn't built for bluegrass. It's not built for bluegrass strings. These were built for gut strings. And so I have the closest thing that we can buy today to gut strings, which is the Labella 17s. It gives a whole lot better sound on this banjo than any steel string would. And it doesn't allow the neck to tension quite so tightly, and it doesn't warp the neck. So thankfully the neck is very straight. And so it's meant to be played in what is called a classic banjo style, which is just finger picking with your pinky based on the head of the calfskin head. So yes, it does play again after 100 years, and praise the Lord, it's a beautiful banjo, and because I'm a little guy and it's a little banjo, it actually suits me just fine. So I hope in the weeks and years to come, the Lord willing, to be able to play more tunes and more songs on it, as I don't know how to read music yet, so that's my next project. If you like this, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time, Lord willing.